Google is the place where most of us go to find reviews for places online. Unless you're some kind of maniac who uses Bing. If you use Bing, you're either 90 years old and just discovered what the internet is, or you're like a toddler using his mom's iPad. Those are the two types of people who use Bing. And also Spider-Man in The Amazing Spider-Man, for some reason. Anyway, if you want to know, like, if a restaurant is good, chances are you're going to look it up on Google and see what kind of reviews they got. Sometimes the reviews are helpful, sometimes they're funny, and then other times, well, they can be a little weird. Now, I've made a lot of videos on this channel looking at funny Google reviews for different places. I've wasted years of my life on this. But having read hundreds, maybe even thousands of reviews myself, I must say, I've stumbled across a few that made me uneasy. So today we're going to be looking at the Google Reviews Iceberg. I made this, so hands off because it's mine. Now I separated this iceberg into 4 different tiers, so it gets darker as we go deeper. In case you didn't know, I guess. Ocean gets darker when you go deeper. Subscribe for more crazy facts. Okay, so the first tier of the iceberg is funny reviews, right? These are reviews that are not meant to be taken seriously, and most likely just people messing around, but maybe not, maybe they're serious and we can just laugh at them anyway. Because it's fun to laugh at people sometimes, haha. 1 star, I went here and got kicked in the nuts. See, like, I don't even know what this is about. Where is he reviewing? Is it a karate studio? Because then that would make sense, right? Maybe he went in the karate studio and they just like, you know, taught him lesson number 1. Watch out for your groin. Oh wait, this was for the Sydney Opera House in Australia. Not sure why he got kicked in the nuts there. Of all places. He must have been there to see a performance of The Nutcracker. Am I right? No, wait, don't unsubscribe. Also, his username is Legalize Nuclear Weapons, and this is his only review. And his photo is Quaker Oats, like, for some reason, so overall 10 on 10 review right there. This next review is for a butterfly farm. 1 star, awful place if you don't enjoy swarms of butterflies. Let me stop you right there. Why? Why would you go to a butterfly farm if you don't like butterflies? It's right there in the name, dude. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's flying insects. Well, imagine my horror when I showed up at this butterfly farm. Awful place if you don't enjoy swarms of butterflies. Also, the fruit on show is for butterflies only and not to be eaten. So this man was trying to eat the fruit. Like the fruit on the sticks that they have for the butterflies. And one of the employees had to be like, "Sir, you can't eat those. Those are for the butterflies. They're not for humans." Oh god, butterflies, where? Nobody told me there'd be butterflies here. 1 star. Roaches that they smash right in front of you and think that you still want to order. Never again. This is for a Dunkin' Donuts. I love the idea of a cashier just smashing a roach with his bare hand on the counter and then just being like, "Oh, sorry about that. What do you want to order? You want a coffee?" 1 star, tasteless, no salt. And the restaurant replied to that review. They said, "Thanks, but too much salt is not good for your healthy." Speaking of not good for your healthy, this next review is for Outback Steakhouse. 1 star. I am absolutely livid. My husband drove all the way to pick up our Outback order and you people forgot the blooming onion. That's the only thing I wanted. Oh, well, that sucks. But wait, she edited the review afterwards and changed it to 5 stars. Here's what she said. My fat husband ate the blooming onion in the car and lied. I am sorry, and I don't know how to delete reviews. Okay, well now that we've looked at some funny reviews, right, we set a little bit of a baseline here. Let's get into the next tier of the iceberg, the lower one, which is crazy people. There are a lot of crazy people that leave reviews on Google, believe it or not. Like, too many people have access to the internet nowadays. Some of them are funny, others are a bit creepy, which is kind of why they're in this in-between funny and disturbing tier, alright? I have been a professional medium for 15.5 years, and I'm very sensitive to all the energy forces that surround us. The instructors are great, and the facility is clean, but when I walked into the studio, I was assaulted by the dark energy radiating from Monica at the front desk. The fat bald guy claimed to be the owner. He also said that if I wanted to get stabbed, then to stick around. Off to a good start. He drives a red Dodge truck. Stay away from this place, it's trouble. Okay, and then the owner replied, meow. I think it's a pretty good sign to stay away from any establishment where the owner is threatening to stab customers. And then when they complain, they respond, meow. 1 star. Yes, I know I said 1 star. I do not like the color yellow, so I always rate 1 star so that there is less of it on my screen. This is a positive review, not a bad review. I am rating 1 star to prevent yellow. Thank you. Imagine being the poor owner of this business, like you're just trying to run your little family restaurant or whatever, and you get this complete lunatic bringing down your average rating because he doesn't like the color yellow on his screen. But it's a positive review, so that makes it okay. 1 star. Sponge Man Ice Cone. That's it. Just Spongeman ice cone. That's the review. This is a review for a landfill, like a dump, by the way. Is he looking for a Spongeman ice cone at the landfill? Like he lost it and he's looking for it there? I mean, it's probably melted by now, I'm guessing. Also, it's SpongeBob, not Spongeman. You can't debate me on the fact that this person is out of their mind. You can't be a sane human being and look up a dump on Google Maps and leave it a review that just says Spongeman ice cone. Okay, now that we've got the silly stuff out of the way, okay, we're like halfway through the video, it's time to go to the next level of the iceberg here, okay? These reviews aren't quite as silly. These are the ones that are slightly creepy, okay? We're on a slightly creepy tier. They're not exactly disturbing, but something about them just feels wrong. 2 stars. My husband and I literally found a dead body lying in the parking lot of this place last week. He had been lying out in the parking lot for so long that rigor mortis had set in and no one had come out to check on him until I called the police. Anyway, great taco truck in the parking lot. Now, okay, this could be a meme review, like judging by the last line, or it could be true. There's no real way to verify it, but that's what makes it a little creepy. 1 star, horrible food and bad customer service. I ordered my food spicy. When I received my food, it wasn't spicy and there was no seasoning. I called the restaurant to tell them my food wasn't spicy. They cursed me and told me if I ever come to the restaurant again, they will shoot me dead. This kind of makes me feel like this restaurant may actually just be like a front for like some kind of mob or something, because that's not how a normal restaurant would typically respond to their customers. Speaking of bad ways to talk to your customers, 1 star, service was awful, food was great, many items were not available. The service was so bad it was actually entertaining. 647 likes on that comment, by the way. Holy moly. So a lot of people clearly agree with this reviewer. Let's see what the owner responds. Hey Todd, go kill yourself. You can't talk to your customers that way, man. Why don't you try opening your own place during COVID? Why don't you come? I'm not gonna read like all that. The first line was more than enough. I mean, based on the owner's response, I believe the reviewer 100%. I guess this isn't so much creepy as it is like upsetting. Like to think that there's people out there running restaurants that think it's okay to tell their customers to off themselves because of them not being happy with the service. Like imagine what other shady stuff that owner is probably doing, how he treats his staff, the fact that he's handling people's food, right? When he clearly has a very bad temper. If this is how he treats his customers online, imagine what he does to their food in person when like they complain about the service. It's a disturbing thought. That's why it's here. Okay, now that's the last one for this section of the iceberg, and here we get into the really disturbing stuff. I know the rest of it was kind of silly, but this is the final tier, disturbing reviews. These are reviews that aren't funny at all. They are genuinely upsetting, so be warned, because I've never really made videos on my channel that are anything but fun and entertaining. In all the years I've been making these Google Reviews videos, it's always been funny stuff. So some of these may actually upset you. So you've been warned. Let's get into it. The first review is for Action Park. You may not have heard of this place. I don't blame you. I hadn't heard of it either. Action Park was a notoriously dangerous New Jersey amusement park that was around in the 80s and 90s. It had horrible safety standards and the rides were designed by amateurs, so that combination led to a lot of accidents that caused injuries and even some deaths in some cases. Over the years, at least 6 people are confirmed to have died at the park, and that includes people drowning, getting electrocuted, having blunt force trauma. Also, they had like an estimated dozens of injuries like per week at the park. Some of the rides that were particularly dangerous, there was a ride called the Alpine Slide, which sent riders down a concrete track on a flimsy like cart. And then there was the Cannonball Loop, which was a closed water slide with a literal vertical loop. You could not pay me to go on this. Now the story goes that the first couple teenagers who were brave enough to actually go on this water slide got their teeth like knocked out during the loop part. Their teeth got stuck on the padding of the loop, okay? Which is horrible. Then the next batch of kids who went on the slide came out with bloody gashes on their face. Turns out they were getting cut by the teeth that were left behind in the slide, in like the padding of the slide, from the earlier victims who rode the ride. That's the kind of place that Action Park was, okay? Now, the original park closed in 1996 because of the safety issues and lawsuits. They got sued, can you believe it? But the park later reopened as Mountain Creek Water Park, which is now like some sissy liberal version of the park without, you know, all the losing your teeth and breaking your spine and stuff like that, you know, for softies. This generation, am I right? But for some reason on Google, it still shows up as Action Park. So this reviewer said, "My buddy passed here. I now go visit him once in a while. While being a horrid amusement park, it's a great memorial for those who lost their lives, including my friend." What do you want me to say? I told you this was the disturbing part. I'm not gonna make jokes about it. That's just horrible. I will say leaving 3 stars for the park that killed your friend is very generous. I mean, that guy from before left 1 star because he just didn't like the color yellow. So that's 3 stars is very generous in this case. That's okay, sorry. No jokes. Here's another review for the exact same park. 1 star. I went there for a family vacation from the UK. I lost an eye due to a rock going into it. Wouldn't recommend unless you want to die. Here's a review of a different sort. It's not on Google, it's on Google Play. Still technically Google, though. I don't have a screenshot of the review itself because it looks like it was taken down, but it really existed. All we have as evidence is this Reddit thread. The poster said they found a creepy Google Play review, and it reads kind of like a distress signal, like a call for help. The review said, Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Norman and Ida Stone Institute of Psychiatry, Galter Pavilion, 13th floor. And then they have like coordinates. And then save me please. I like and love to live urgent. And it was posted as a review for an audiobook. For the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, of all things too. So these Reddit like sleuths got to work and started digging into this. Turns out the phone number that the person left in that review was actually for a psychiatric ward at a hospital in Chicago. And the 13th floor, which actually was the psych ward. So it looks like whoever posted this review was really actually trying to get help. But for some reason they did it through a Google Play review of an audiobook. I don't know. Later on in the thread, somebody actually tracked down a woman who seemed to be the person behind the post, or at least was connected to it. They called her from that number that they left, and the person seemed very confused, unable to kind of identify herself even. So that kind of confirmed that it was a review left by a person at the psych ward who was stuck in a bad mental situation and posting, whatever she could, wherever she could, just hoping that somebody would see it. And the thread kind of went cold after that. I mean, people realized it came from somebody who was mentally unwell, and they just kind of dropped the case. But it honestly stuck with me because, was it just the ramblings of some like crazy person who was in a crisis? Or was it a genuine cry for help that nobody took seriously because they realized that it was somebody at a psych ward, right? I guess we'll never know. But the fact that this even showed up as a review for an audiobook is kind of unsettling on its own. Here's another one from a Reddit thread. I found 50 uncanny photos of smiling strangers near my house, and now I'm terrified. I was messing around on Google Maps when I stumbled across something deeply unsettling, a location near my house labeled Test 1, containing 50 photos, all of 2 different people with the same horrifying smiles. Their faces look stretched, their mouths unnaturally wide, revealing too many teeth and exposed gums. It's not just a smile, it's like their faces were forced into that expression. The more I look at it, the more wrong it feels. But here's the part that chills me to my core. As a door-to-door salesman, I've knocked on that very house multiple times. Never once has anyone answered. It's old, run down, just like the rusted car that sits outside. Someone lives there, I know it. Now I have to wonder, is it them? And if it is, why are there 50 photos of them grinning like that? I don't think I'll ever knock on that door again. And then you can see what they're talking about here, this picture of this kind of creepy smile being left as a review for a house of all places. Now this looks like a very AI generated story, but for all I know it's true, and the guy just used ChatGPT to kind of clean up his writing because he's not a good writer, right? Maybe English isn't his first language, I don't know. The photos are real though, that's for sure. So is it just somebody pulling a prank on Google, leaving these pictures? Just a crazy person or something? Is it something more nefarious? Who knows? You be the judge. This one's actually quite unsettling. Have I found a pervert? This is another Reddit thread. This time was on the Montreal subreddit. I won't read the whole thing. I'm just going to summarize it for you. Basically, this Reddit user had just moved to Montreal. They weren't very familiar with the area, so they started using Google Maps to like find grocery stores and places to shop. Pretty normal. But when they were scrolling through reviews and photos for places, something weird stood out, which was that there were a bunch of like low quality photos taken at strange angles left by one reviewer. And a lot of them featured women, usually from behind, and usually, kind of off in the distance. Not exactly the type of thing you'd expect to see as a review for like a grocery store. And maybe once or twice it's like, okay, this guy's just taking photos of the store and people are passing by kind of thing. But then this person started to notice that all the photos, of the same kind started popping up more and more. And they went on the profile of the reviewer, and basically all their reviews were like this. So yeah, this person's profile was just filled with reviews that contained photos of women who clearly didn't know they were being photographed in public. Sometimes they were eating, sometimes they were walking away from the camera, sometimes they were teenagers, like clearly underage. They shared the screenshots, which you can see on here, and their faces are censored, obviously, thank God. And it's just really fucking creepy. Like, this is not somebody trying to leave reviews for places to help other people. This is some creep using Google Maps as like a personal cloud service to upload his secret collection of his stalker photos. Maybe it's a trafficker posting pictures of potential victims. Could just be a weird pervert. Who knows, right? And this had been going on for years, okay? Uploading photos of the woman. It's honestly disturbing how easy it is to hide something like this in plain sight. Like it was just on a Google Maps profile in public reviews for different places, and it took this long for somebody to even notice it. It's just a reminder that the internet's a weird place. There's a lot of creeps on there, and you never really know who's out there in public. Sometimes you don't have to scroll through Google reviews to find creepy, deranged people. Sometimes you just have to leave your house. And even then, you might not find them. They might find you. This next review is for a forest in Japan. It's specifically the Aokigahara forest. I hope I'm pronouncing that okay. If you don't know it by name, you'll know it by this image. Yeah, it's that forest. Also, I parodied that video, that Logan Paul video. I parodied that in my song called Please Cancel Me.
Give me exposure for free. Come on, make me hurt.
If you want to check that out, subtle plug. But yeah, so it's that forest in Japan that's famous for people using it as a place to end their own lives. I want to be respectful here, and I want to put it in the best way that I can. It's a dense, eerily silent forest at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan, where people often go to disappear. And if you wander through the woods, you may just find the remains of some poor soul who decided to find their final resting place among the stillness of the evergreens. That may be the case for this one reviewer who left a review in Italian. It's translated to Italian, so the English is a little broken. 1 star. We were walking through the forest, but at a certain point there was a dark part. I saw some clothes with shoes, jackets, t-shirts with blood. Going a little further, we found a corpse, all made up of rotting bones. We didn't finish the walk in the forest, and then we went back. That's essentially what they said. Here's another one. 3 stars. The forest was so peaceful, they removed another body today. Rest in peace. This next one was translated from Vietnamese. Less than 10 minutes into the walk, I felt the unusual atmosphere. The wind was not blowing. The silence was uncomfortable. Underfoot were rotten leaves and vines. On the branches were old ropes, a few rotten bags of personal belongings, as if someone had just been there and then disappeared. Every step deeper into the forest felt like there was something standing behind me. Not clearly, but it made my neck feel cold. My chest felt heavy. Going alone is absolutely not recommended because it is easy to panic, easy to hear whispers from nowhere. Some people even posted photos with reviews like these signs that say, and this is a translation, "Your life is a beautiful gift from your parents. Please think about your parents, siblings, and children. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk about your problems." So yeah, it's just a very haunting Google page to look at overall. Of course, because of the whole Logan Paul meme, there are like a bunch of unfunny American kids leaving reviews that read like the comment section of a fucking YouTube Shorts video. I think there's a time and place for funny Google reviews. I love funny Google reviews, but doing it on the page for a place where troubled people chose to end their lives, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Very nice forest. My tour guide, Mr. Logan, even gave me some lunch in prime. Impeccable views and amazing scenery. Just annoying Mr. Logan was wearing a Toy Story hat. Kinda childish, not gonna lie. He also kept saying, "I think there's someone hanging over there."
Like, shut up, little bro, you're not funny. I will say, I do like this one review by a guy who's clearly just confused. Somebody say this is Haunted Fortress? That's right. So yeah, overall, a pretty disturbing set of reviews, but I think I picked the best for last here. This is a review I found a while back that inspired me to make this whole video in the first place. This is a review for a bridge, okay? You ready? If I could give it 0 stars, I would. Horrible bridge, very scary, very high up. Had to cover my eyes in the passenger seat and almost threw up at the highest point. Seems like an ordinary review, right? Just somebody who's afraid of heights, doesn't like bridges. Kind of weird to give a 1-star review to a bridge though, just because it's high up. I mean, that's what a bridge is, right? But, well, I forgot to mention one thing. This was a review that was left for the Baltimore Bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The one that, if you'll remember, back in March of 2024, collapsed, killing 6 people as a result. And this review, it was left 1 day before the bridge collapsed. So maybe Abby really does just have Jafarophobia, the fear of bridges, and that's it. Or maybe something told her that that bridge was not the safest. And if that's the case, she was right. So guys, I know this video was a little dark. I promise I'll get back into the funny stuff, but a ton of research went into this video. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me as a small YouTuber. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to stick around for more videos real soon. My name is Wolfgang, stay safe, and I will see you next time.